are driven by the finer things. I see more than materials and wealth. What have you got to give to me? What I don't already give myself. You are driven by the...
Hello, Sydney here. Welcome to a brand new episode of Illuminated Disclaimer. I found out this year that we need to do more when it comes to development, and when we use this time to grow and develop our skills, we also need to find that time to seek balance. When there is a yin, there is a yang. When there is a heaven, there's an earth, and we need to make sure that we have that balance inside of us. Now, I decided that this year will be a year where I truly develop myself and get out of my shell, and as a result, I need to do something I've never done before. And I would recommend, if you can, or in some cases with some of you, when you can, take this jump, take this pledge, take the plunge to make sure that you actually do something outside of your comfort zone. Now, I'll tell you the story. So I started this new year just with my friend, and we were at a park looking at the fireworks, and we were just basically talking about what we truly wanted, and we went quite deep. We spoke about how the year went for us, what's holding us back, our doubts, our limited beliefs, but what we want to go into the future, how we want to end up. And it made me realize that my negative thought processes was holding me back, my doubts was holding me back, and in a way I would sabotage myself by doing specific things because I didn't feel like I was worthy enough of those things. And he basically said, you need to curb that. You're a really good guy. You need to look at the positives in life, and you need to do things that you only dreamed of doing but stopped yourself because you didn't think that that was worthwhile for you. So I just thought to myself, let me just look at holidays, just look at a few holidays and just see the feasibility about going away. And I found some flights, and it was quite good because that started the seed, I should say. So fast forward a couple of weeks, and my daughter's grandmother goes to the Philippines. Now, while we're all at the airport measuring bags, I'm at Gatwick North Terminal, and I just think to myself, oh gosh, I remember the last time I went here. Can't remember where I went. I think I went to Ayia Napa. I can't remember, but it was a few years ago, and I just remember just being in that airport years ago and just thinking, yeah, like I'm going away, and that gave me a feeling of excitement. But I was there on a cold January, just looking at people going away on holiday, people with their bags, people wearing t-shirts in January because they're going to a hot place, and I'm just there standing there in Gatwick North Terminal just thinking, I really want to go away. And I got quite disheartened, like, I guess for a lot of people January isn't the time to be going away. You get blue January, and it was around that time as well, I guess depressive month, not a lot of money due to Christmas, etc., etc. So people are looking at saving their money, not spending it, but I just had that feeling that I really wanted to go away and I wanted to make it happen. So without being aware of it, two things were happening to me. I had the goal, I had the thoughts, and I had the ideas, and then I was starting to get the energy as if I was in that scenario going away. And the next catalyst was I just needed a final push. So at this time, I had 3 jobs. I was working as a health and wellbeing trainer. So that was quite busy. I was speaking to dozens of people a week. I also had a job as a maths tutor. So I'll be tutoring, and I guess I was more of a teacher, but it's called a tutor because I don't do a lot of one-to-ones. I usually do classes of up to 16 people, and I've got various classes all over the week. And then my third job at the time was working for a poetry company called Poetic Unity. Now, in one of my previous episodes, I was wearing a hat, and if you can, please follow them on Instagram at Poetic Unity. Beautiful, and yeah, if you can get involved, it'll be absolutely amazing. But I was doing a lot of community stuff, youth clubs, for example, hosting events, facilitating workshops, etc., etc. And I remember it was one Thursday night, and I got myself a Guinness because I was like, it's Tuesday, but because I don't work one job, I don't follow the traditional 9 to 5. I'll work 10 a.m. on Monday, and my next job is at 6 p.m., for example. And then on Tuesdays, I don't do anything during the day, but then I've got work at 7 p.m. But I didn't do much for the day, but that evening I was teaching maths from 7 till 9, and it was quite a lot because it's functional skills, getting ready for exams. And I remember getting myself a can of Guinness because I'm not really that much of a drinker, but if I was to drink, I just have a Guinness just to, you know, get my iron, so to speak, put a couple of hairs on my chest, you know what I'm saying? So, got one of those. And then I realized I had a meeting, so I had to rush home and basically have this meeting. And this meeting is for a new opportunity. You know, we are from, well, the people in that meeting are from Guyana, they are psychotherapists, they're analysts, they're people who have 10, 15 years in their respective fields of experience. And I remember talking to them, and they were like, well, we need some directors. And they asked me, Sydney, do you want to be the director of this company? So I agreed. I thought to myself, I need to get more uncomfortable, you know, I need to get more experience, I need to put myself in more scenarios, and I need to be around elders, and I call elders people who give me a wealth of knowledge and help me to become more wise and fluent in what I truly want to do in my life. So I took it off with both hands. Even though I have 3 jobs, I'm still going to take this opportunity. And even though it's a startup and things will start slow, I could see the boundless, and I could just see so much potential in it. So that is ongoing at the moment. As the time right now is, we are in March, so that's still developing. It's still developing. So I'm looking forward to what that brings. And I just remember being in a meeting for about 2 hours, got to like 10:30, 11 o'clock around that time, and closed my laptop. I was just feeling the way I was. Took a long sigh, and I just said to myself, I need to go on holiday. And that was the push I needed. So what I did was I decided that, speaking to another elder, I call him uncle, he basically said to me, a lot of people in this country are confused because they don't know their own identity. I'm like, can you find your identity here? And he looked at me and was like, no, if your ancestors came from a different land, then this land is alien to you. You need to go back to where you came from and you need to find as much answers as you can. You need to be in your own climate. You need to eat the food that your ancestors were used to eating. So if you are not from the UK, for example, I wholly recommend that you go to all places where you're associated with, your ancestors associated with. And you can use you can do a DNA test, you can find out where your family's from, you can speak to your family if you want to. And I just recommend that everybody just goes back to their spiritual home, you know, where their heritage laid their heads for millennia, centuries, eons. So I thought to myself, it's January, come up to February, next week I could probably go to somewhere. Looked at flights and I saw flights to Portugal, and if, I guess none of you will probably know, but my great grandfather was a Portuguese man, so I thought to myself, I've been to Portugal before, I enjoyed Portugal, I'm going to go to Portugal again. And the prices were £30 return for a flight return to Portugal. And I travelled to Norfolk, I travelled to Norwich, I travelled to Ipswich as well, and the train tickets return is even more than a flight to Portugal. So I'm like to myself, well, how about I don't go in one week and just go to Portugal instead? So I thought to myself, the longer I think, the longer I overthink. And if I overthink a lot, I won't go. So pressed buy. Didn't get a hotel, didn't know where I was staying. I just knew that I was going to Faro in about 8 days after I pressed pay. So yeah, I realized that I need to do this not only for my mental health and just to relax, but just to see a new scenery. And the beautiful thing was, I realized that I had an increase of mood just knowing that I will be in the same location I was a week previously at Gatwick Airport North Terminal, like except of saying goodbye to somebody, I'm gonna wave myself off. And that's what happened. The next week Sunday, I got my bag. I travel very light. I'll be a perfect husband because if they give me 10 kilograms, I'll probably use 4 or 5 kilograms. So I just had a small backpack for 4 days. Just thought to myself, 4 days, that's all I could probably take without stepping on too many toes when it comes to work. Went to Gatwick and there I was, North Terminal, standing in the same position I was standing a couple of weeks previously and just thinking, I am that person. A lot of things hold us back, but one thing that really does hold us back is our limited thoughts and beliefs. And if I thought about it and thought about all the fears or all the implications or all the things that I couldn't do when it came to work, I wouldn't have went. But thankfully, I'm in a situation where a couple of my jobs are working from home, so I could do what I wanted to do. But even so, the mental health aspect of life should be given more priority. And even if you might get in trouble for work, for example, or with family or friends, you need to see what you truly want and you need to go towards it. And I think this is an important lesson. Like, although nobody has, the power to travel or the money to travel all over the place, Portugal is a byword for anywhere. If you can get the money to go to your spiritual home or the home of your heritage, please do. If you don't, go on a holiday. It doesn't even mean you have to go far away. You can go 10 miles down the road, for example, and just get an Airbnb. The fact of the matter is, you should travel more. You should get out of your comfort zone and try new experiences. And if you feel that going on holiday alone is a daunting task, then start small. Just book a hotel around the corner for a week. Just do things alone. Go to events alone. Go to the woods alone. Go to Greenlands alone. Just try all these things, but do make sure they do it alone and safely as well. Because you need to get into a space where you start to become more independent, and that's where confidence and self-esteem comes from. But the most important thing is, the more you come out of your comfort zone, the more you realize and embody who you want to be. You might want to be a manager of a company, you might want to do very well in your life, you might want to have a multi-figure pound business. But you need to get out of your comfort zone and use that to learn new things and experience who you are. And by me going to Portugal, I did several first. I never travelled and went on a holiday by myself before. I never did something so, I guess, spontaneous. And it was difficult because I don't really speak Portuguese, and I was just alone in like a village town. Like, if you go to those places, you go to Albufeira or you go to Lisbon. But I went to Faro, which is very quiet, very, very quiet. But I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I did. And what I loved about it was it gave me one feeling. And this is what I say, when you do new experiences, try and get a feeling which invokes excitement, happiness. Once you have that feeling, whenever you transfer it to something else you want to do or think about doing, you have that feeling. For example, you want a car. If you close your eyes and imagine that car, you could feel the excitement, that same excitement when you're about to go into the car and you pull out the key in your pocket and you blip, blip, turn it on. And what I attribute from Portugal when it comes to the feeling is when I came out of the airport, obviously, like in the UK it was cloudy for like 4 or 5 months and cold. I remember coming out to the airport, and obviously the airport's quite tall, but there was shade. So I'm coming out, I'm walking, I could just see cloudless skies, sunny, I could feel the warm air, but I wanted to be in the sun. But I knew it was about a 30-second walk to get out of the shade that the airport is given. So I just remember just saying that I'm going to remember this moment. So the first thing I said to myself, I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to walk. Just going to walk. And what was great about this, what was absolutely amazing about this was, by me closing my eyes and walking and knowing that the sun was going to hit me one day, I found something unique, I found something special, something that when I manifest, I think about the same exact things I feel when I'm walking there, because I close my eyes. I don't know when it's coming, but it's coming. It's definitely coming. The sun was going to hit me. I just couldn't tell when it was going to hit me. And when it comes to manifestation, I see the same thing as well, and I hope you do as well. Whenever you're waiting for that thing that you are manifesting for, just know that it's coming. You don't know when the universe chooses that, but when it comes, you'll know it. And you just need to keep solid in your resolve if you're doing the law of attraction. I would say that I'm going to do more videos later on about the law of attraction, and I'll just say to you right now, just get into that feeling. Needless to say, 30 seconds did feel like 10 minutes, I'm not going to lie to you, but it's the importance of it. It will come. We are toddlers in a sense, because sometimes you're like, oh, it's been 2 months, I still haven't got it, and you kind of throw a bit of a tantrum. But you need to be patient and strong in your convictions to get what you truly want. And if this thing is going on holiday, then imagine a holiday. Imagine yourself on a boat. Last year in July, I listened to Neville Goddard's teachings. Yeah. Before I went to sleep, I did my deep breathing. I imagined myself out of my body. I imagined a light coming from the universe on the top of my head and going out through my feet. Yeah. And I imagined a scene where I was somewhere sunny and hot. On a, I was on the top deck sunbathing, and I actually promise you, 3 weeks later, that happened. And it was the craziest thing, because I was just lying there on this holiday, and I'm like, oh, wow. The law of attraction does work, but are you strong in your convictions? I can go to Portugal. I can probably say to myself a month from now that I want to go to another country and learn more about my heritage. I can say to myself in about 3 months' time that I can get a car. I can get the car that I want. I can say to myself in 6 months' time, I will meet that soulmate that I've been craving and longing for. But what steps are you doing to implement this? Are you thinking about the fear-based mindset or the love-based mindset? Do you believe that you can have this? Do you believe that you deserve this? Can you see yourself in that situation? Can you live that situation as though it is real? This is the gifts that I'll give to you for um, this video. I want you just to think about those things, and you need to think about how much you're putting into it, how much you're investing into it, because you can't sit back and let the universe take control of the time. You need to have the thoughts, you need to have the feelings, you need to work actively towards your goal, and the universe will do the rest. But until then, this has been Sydney. You have been listening to me on Illuminated Disclaimer, and I just want to say thank you so much for listening. Take care and illuminate the world wherever you can. Thank you.